1971, Vincent Price starred in a dark British comedy about a fiendish yet brilliant madman on a sadistic campaign of revenge. Before Jigsaw, Vincent Price was the Abominable Dr. Phibes. Is this one of those movies with an overture? I mean, do I have time to pee and stuff? Hey, hold your phone, landscape. Thank you. Free skate! I hear this is how Aerosmith gets started these days. This is Volnavia, played by Virginia North, Phibes' assistant and sometimes dance partner. Would you believe we're about to begin a murder spree? Pack up Tweety and let's get this show on the road. Here's the first victim now. Aw, they're cute. Hi. Ah, they're turning me into guano! Thanks for the ride, V. See you tomorrow, yes? The next morning, breakfast is served, but everyone's already eaten. Was he Jackson Pollock to death? The cops are here to make sense of all this. Peter Jeffrey is Inspector Trout. Something fishy about that name.
Shredded to death, right in the heart of London.
Because nobody's ever died in London, but this is oddly similar to another case.
He was stung to death by bees.
There might be a connection. Bring in Mother Nature for questioning. Michael Jackson starts his day. The next victim is at a costume party where he's given a fancy mask. Or he's here to sell insurance. Make sure it's good and snug. Either it keeps tightening or his neck is getting an erection. Oh, why did I put on that jockstrap they gave me? Oh no, I'm gonna miss the big giveaway at 9. Bud, Wise, I know you're waiting for me to say it. Here we go. Well, he croaked. By the way, Phibes is basing his murders on the biblical 10 deadly plagues of Egypt. One has already happened off screen, Curse of Bees standing in for boils. Have I mentioned how flamboyant and extravagant he is? Each time he takes one of them out, he ritualistically melts a wax bust of them. I would check off a list off a used napkin and call it a day. Poor bastard got the office with the poltergeist.
Anyway, medical men die every day.
Every day? What kind of police force you running here? Our next victim is about to enjoy his delivery from Adam and Eve. If I feel like I'm rushing between these murders, I'm not. They actually do happen in this quick succession. Oh, demonetized? Here I come! We're about to see some different hand cranking. Nobody tell this guy about Playboy. His little heart wouldn't be able to take it. Oh no, the internet went out. Pinocchio, you're a real girl! She is, of course, a distraction to tie up the victim for the boss. Are we in Paris? I think we're about to see an Eiffel Tower! It took a while draining his erection. Cran apple. I have the same painting hanging over my shitter.
He's as dry as a bone.
That is his bone.
Put his dick away, have you no respect? The cops have a lead. All the victims have worked for this guy,
Dr. Vesalia.
played by Joseph Cotton.
Men in my profession die every day.
Just how dangerous is being a doctor over there? Now we have a heads up on the next murders. 30 minutes in and Phibes finally speaks, which he can only do with the help of this device.
My love.
He really misses his dead wife. Then explain the dancing. Dr. Versailles only had one case where he worked with every single victim, which gives him a list of possible victims and a possible suspect with motive. The patient, Victoria Phibes, deceased. The husband, Anton Phibes, also deceased. He died in a car crash right after he heard about his wife's passing. Well, that's kind of a dead end, isn't it? Next victim, the old lady in distress trick. Freeze! Which is exactly how the cops find him later. Oh, will someone hit the body with a hammer already? Versailles and his firstborn, hint son bond over chess. Anyone else fascinated by how the lamp matches the couch? Phibes is their best suspect, despite being dead. But there's always hope. Warrants are for pussies.
was not Phibes at all, but his chauffeur.
So if that's his chauffeur, it must suck that nobody looked for his body. But the missus is, well, missing. Racing to warn the next victim, slow down, you're doing almost 30. Ooh, so close. It's a plane that likes male and female pilots. It's a biplane. That is horrible.
Don't blame me, your timing sucks.
My new writer. He works cheap, but you get what you pay for.
He pays me in Bitcoin.
I give him chocolate coins and I tell him it's Bitcoin. He still eats them. I am sick and tired of these monkey-fighting rats on this Monday to Friday plane. I'm cutting for the TV edit. Thank God the cops are here in time to watch him die.
Oh, I shouldn't have stopped for that haircut.
Oh, Phibes is physically messed up. He can't talk, nor can he eat or drink normally. That's gotta go in the back of his neck. No, they never show just exactly how that works, and I don't want to know. It's nice of his assistant to keep him company, and luckily evil madmen don't have an HR department. They take another potential victim into protective custody. And he's immediately killed by a brass unicorn. You heard me. Oh, grandfather went the same way. Ooh, someone needs to be fired.
He's cast the thing in bloody brass.
He probably had some left over from his balls.
After these messages.
We'll be right back.
Only the freshest ingredients for Dr. Phibes? Yes, this is the same movie. Welcome to Cooking with Dr. Phibes, brought to you by Home Chef. Revenge is best served cold, but for a hot meal delivered to your door, Home Chef, now with gluten-free options. You know they're not a sponsor, right? Next victim and a nurse is under protection. The building is sealed and Phibes still gets in! Not sure why she's not awakened by Brussels sprout jelly on the face, but hey, maybe her boyfriend's vegan.
Hulk pullout game, strong!
You may be asking what Veggie and Hungry Locust have to do with each other. They're so orderly, like customers at a Vegas buffet. Except she's the buffet. The cops finally check in on her. Ah, shit, Inspector. I owe you a Coke. Let's recap the victims so far. Blood, frogs, bats, rats, diseased animals, boils, hail, locusts. The original biblical plagues of gnats and flies were changed because, ew. That leaves darkness and death of the firstborn.
My older brother is dead.
What about your firstborn?
Yeah, always thinking about yourself. Well, the son's missing. Phibes taunts the doctor.
Hello.
Before dick pics, this was the only way to transmit an organ over the phone.
Phibes.
Midnight in Maldine Square.
I love how Trout, while busy protecting Versailles, is still enjoying a nice brandy. He has to go alone, so he's gotta lose the heat. Which is easy. I swear, you could strangle these cops with a cordless phone. Don't you hate it when your boss has theme days at the office? This bad Yelp review has gone on long enough.
What is it you want?
His son is chained to an operating table, and Versailles needs to operate stat. Remove the key implanted by his heart, or else acid will drip onto his son's face. No time for scrubbing, so if the acid doesn't kill him, raging infections will.
When the acid reaches him, he will have a face like mine.
I can tell. You're freaking out.
Phibes probably expects Versailles to fail. Either way, he doesn't care. He's on to the next thing. The cops arrive, but they weren't affected before, and no sense in starting now. Versailles succeeds, but Volnavia fails.
Never know, it could be a trap.
Phibes gets ready for one last act. It's off with the missus in a coffin built for two. With a mirrored ceiling. Phibes is a stud. Ooh, a phone. How extravagant. He begins to embalm himself. Now that's hardcore, man. Less ketchup, more mustard. The cops arrive in time for the final plague. Left in the dark. Just missed him, guys. And that was the abominable Dr. Phibes. It ended with him embalming himself, so you think that's the end of the story. Nope. The following year, he returns in a sequel, Dr. Phibes Rises Again. All hail Vincent Price. Dr. Anton Phibes is a one-of-a-kind character. Artful, brilliant, poetic, tragic. It's incredible how beautiful and dignified his words can be, yet spoken robotically, devoid of emotion, from a face unable to express any. He carries the movie with style. Singular in his task, we feel his pain and get on his side early, even though he's going around murdering people who are really just doing their jobs. It's never really revealed whether they were incompetent or not. But it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter to Phibes.
Anton Phibes, concert musician and brilliant engineer, apparently.
He's so awesomely flamboyant and theatrical. He gets in and out of his secret room by playing an organ. How fancy is that? Doesn't Vincent Price's performance remind you of anyone?
I alone remain to bring delivery of your pain.
The monster who took you from me will soon learn that revenge is a dish best served cold.
Not a complaint, but if they were inspired by Vincent Price's performance, they were inspired by the best. Versailles isn't really a match for Phibes. His only skill as a surgeon saves the day for his son, but he has little else effect on the story. Every other target died. Inspector Trout is behind Phibes, but doesn't even get close. He's usually comically one step behind, or even present but ineffective. But his interactions with everyone around him is just hilarious.
Are you in the habit of contradicting your superiors, Bream?
His conversations flow like Monty Python. And the victims are, well, little more than victims. They're even called that in the credits. Not really too gory, especially by today's standards, but it does offer some startling imagery and leaves a lot to the imagination. Even with something as serious as a multiple murderer on the loose, the tone of the entire movie is light, breezy, just a ton of fun. The movie immediately sets up its campy tone. Yes, this is a madman, but we're also going to have some fun. I've gushed on Vincent Price a bunch, but everyone else turns in great performances. They play the parts deadpan, but not overly dramatic and not overly serious. Even the soundtrack is bright and brassy. It's a revenge tale with a twist. Is Phibes' reaction over the top? Yeah, it is. Is it reasonable? No, not at all. But it's so twisted and bizarre and unusual that it stands out among other revenge tales. There are some shots in the movie that might seem long by today's hyperkinetic standards, but this was a time when filmmakers allowed audiences to take in the scene and appreciate the movie. It's not an action-packed movie, but it does hook you in with its solid performances, witty dialogue, and stunning visuals. The Abominable Dr. Phibes is 5 Bs. Too bad the ending is a little bit anticlimactic. No direct confrontation, Phibes just finishes his task and slips away. It just ends. But that also sets it apart. Rather than the expected final fight that kills the bad guy, it doesn't even feel like they're setting up a sequel. I'm not saying they should. If Hollywood decides to remake this, can't you just see Christopher Walken in the title role? Just a thought. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, the bell, the usual YouTube stuff. This is theNewBee, and I'll see you later, kids. Toodles! Knock it off!
And special thanks to my patrons. You guys rock.